What's going on, everyone? It's another episode of Left Side Heavy, the podcast, presented by Blue Wire Hustle. It's your boy, Jevin LaFave. On this episode, I brought on a fellow program mate, is what we ended up calling it, but Scott Ani. He is a writer for Wings Nation. He's also in the Radio Arts and Entertainment program at VCIT as well. And he came on to talk about some recent NHL headlines and some little trade talk before the deadline. And I asked him kind of some fill in the blank questions, got his opinion on other stuff. So it was a great episode. I appreciated him for coming on. And yeah, be sure to leave a rating and review everywhere you get your podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're only listening to this, head over to the YouTube so you can watch it and enjoy the episode. Peace. It's episode 84 of Left Side Heavy, the podcast, presented by Blue Wire Hustle. I'm your host, Jevin LaFave, and today I'm bringing on fellow Radio Arts and Entertainment classmate, I suppose, Scott Ani. How's it going, man?
Doing good. Somewhat classmates, I guess.
Yeah, somewhat classmates.
Program mates.
Yeah, program mates. That makes more sense. But how you been, man?
I'm good. I mean, sad football's over, but like I was just telling you earlier, like it's a great time of year to be living in Vancouver. I'm playing golf. I'm skiing.
Yeah.
Weather's been good other than it's freezing cold, but sun's shining. Like it's one of the best times of the year to live in Van.
Exactly. It's super deceiving out because, like, an example, I was working the other day and just a pizza shop and limited dining, but we don't have it set up because my boss doesn't want to do passports because if you want dining, you have to, like, check everyone.
Yeah.
And someone came in and he's like, "Can I eat in here? It's cold out." And I'm like, "Sorry, I can't." And I'm like, "Can't be that cold out. It's, like, sunny out." And I went to go take the trash out and I'm like, holy shit, it is cold out, and I've been outside for like 2 minutes.
The whole country's getting hit. Ottawa's getting like freezing rain.
Yeah.
Interior BC is like -15 right now. It's brutal.
Yeah, I'm golfing this afternoon, like after this recording, and I'm expecting the worst. But how have you been keeping your head above water this program? Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, it's been exciting doing some new skills, like talking on mics and working in front of cameras and whatnot. And
yeah.
Overall, I think the program's been fairly simple, but I've been doing well grade-wise, and it's not too heavy of a workload. Like you're still able to do hobbies on the side and work on the side, but like learning a lot of valuable skills. I think any program of first year is always going to be a little bit slow, and nothing's that difficult. So as it picks up with practicum in the second year, I think it's gonna get going.
Yeah, I slowly get the ball rolling, but yeah, I felt like this program has taught us a lot of like invaluable lessons that you weren't like expecting, like time management and just even because people think of radio arts as just like live, like on air, like hot mic and everything, but
Right.
You can learn to produce, video edit. There's a lot of other things, other doors that open. But what got you into this program?
I don't know. I've looked at it for years, and I went to school for history and was going to be a teacher, and I thought about taking this, but what held me back was, radio industry in decline, and just not sure if I want to commit 2 years of my life and worry about getting employed. And then, I don't know, I just one day I was like, okay, I don't really want to be a teacher that much. I'm going to go do something I like. I've always wanted to work in sports.
Yeah.
I think it combines well with my history. Like I have good writing and research skills. I've studied some sports history, and just to get all the talents I can to possibly work in sports media.
Is there any avenue you specifically want to go down, or are you just kind of waiting for an opportunity and jumping on it?
Yeah, just waiting. I like to write. Like I've told you before, I'm writing for a Red Wings blog called Wings Nation, and I'd like to get into podcasting, and I'd also really like to work in football. Like I know a lot about hockey, I know a lot about football. Anything in either sport, really.
Yeah, fellow Pats fans.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
rough times, kind of.
Yeah.
We're looking promising, but the last 5 weeks of our season were bad. Really
yeah,
bad.
it was a harsh reality. Playing Buffalo in the playoffs, but
when I wanted Cincy so bad too, and look what they did. So
yeah, that's tough. But how's the writing for Wings Nation?
That's good. It's going really good. I've written 7 articles for them now over the last month and a half. Wings Nation is having the most website traffic they've had in their history now. Like, we just did a day when my last article came out. that was the most page views they've had since like November 2019.
That's awesome, man.
And, like, yeah, the whole website's been growing a lot. Me and another new writer, Brendan Delaney, came on there. Brendan Delaney, and since then, the whole site's been kind of taken off a bit. So.
Yeah, I've checked your Twitter, and every update you post about like your most recent article, it's even like compared to your other tweets, it's getting a lot of action as well. So it seems that people are heading there.
Yeah, I have barely any followers, like just over 100, but I'm getting like, thousands of impressions on them, and
yeah,
my friends retweeting them a lot helps, and yeah, it's going well.
How'd you jump on the opportunity?
Well, Brian Weeb, our instructor, he sent a job posting that they were looking for writers, and I didn't know what I'd be writing for. They have a ton of different blogs, Jets Nation, obviously Wings, Toronto. They got Leafs on there, or Blue Jays on there too. Flames. They got a bunch of stuff. They run Daily Face Off, which a lot of people look at. They run hockeyfights.com. So it's a pretty big branch. I didn't know what I'd be doing. I wrote one Red Wings article for them, and yeah, they brought me on. At first I thought I'd be doing maybe Flame stuff, maybe Jet stuff, but we stuck it to just Wings, which I like. Not really a fan of those other two teams at all, and the Wings are exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, my first couple articles weren't that good. I hadn't written much in a couple of years, but a lot of good constructive feedback from the managing editor, Mike Gould. It's going really well, and I'm enjoying it.
Well, yeah, around Olympic time, you wrote that Red Wings players like on the brink of making rosters, and is that kind of what took everything off? Is that your first one?
No, I don't even know what the first one I wrote we didn't publish. It was just like a generic piece on like the Red Wings are on the come up, or the Red Wings of old are coming back with Seider, Raymond, etc. And then we didn't even publish that, and then I went into that one, which was Red Wings players who missed out on the Olympics with NHL not going. And yeah, that was my first one, and I think if you read that and then read my most recent pieces, like I've already improved a ton.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How'd you get into hockey?
I just started playing. I mean, my dad's a big sports fan. I started playing when I was 7, which is somewhat late, I guess, for a kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Most of my friends started around 4 or 5.
Yeah, I started playing around 7 as well.
Yeah. And I didn't play that high-level hockey. I played some rep hockey, but mostly just house. And I like to play all sports, really. I skied all the time. I played basketball. I never really committed to one that hard. I played soccer. Soccer was the one I was most competitive in, but
yeah,
just always love sports. Love watching all of them. I'll watch badminton if you ask me to, like any sport.
Yeah, and you just started following along. You said you're a Sharks fan.
I'm a Sharks fan since, about that time, 7.
How did that happen?
See, I don't know, really. I think it's because I got NHL 2001 for my computer.
Okay.
And Owen Nolan was on the cover.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I played season mode with them. And then they were the only team I knew all the players on. I just followed them. And I love Patrick Marleau from the get-go. He's like the polar opposite of me as a player. He's calm. He's cool.
You're just a hothead.
He scores goals, yeah, and I just take bad penalties and have no hands. So I always wanted to be like him, even though I was more of a Matt Barnaby or Matt Cook type player.
Yeah. That's amazing. But yeah, I brought you on here to talk about hockey, and it's basically just a cleanup episode. There's no real big headlines that are surfacing, but there's still some that are willing to kind of talk about, get your thoughts on everything. But we'll kind of start in Canada, but Canadian teams go to full capacity. It's good to see. What were your thoughts on Toronto and Montreal going completely empty, and
It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get into COVID stuff too much. Whatever people think, I'm very central. I don't, whatever. But
yeah.
It sucks for sports. It sucks for the players. It sucks for the fans. It's so dull in there. When you watch an American broadcast and then you go watch the Canadian ones, it's just how do we even have playoffs doing that in the past? It's terrible. You see it with basketball too. Every rink is or every whatever stadium is awesome, and then the Raptors just empty, and it's just terrible optics. And it is what it is, though. I can't say it's a bad thing if we need to get this pandemic down. It just sucks for sports.
It does, and you kind of think about free agency and everything, and how maybe that can affect players wanting to go to Canadian teams, because it's if I'm gonna risk spending half my season in an empty barn, it's gonna defeat.
Well, not just that. There's all the regulations too. The travel regulations. Can their family come up? It
Exactly.
definitely affect it. We've seen players. Justin Falk made comments about how happy he is in the States. It's definitely better for an athlete right now. Is it better for your safety? Probably not. But seems like most people aren't that concerned.
No,
And
exactly. No, yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head there. But I don't believe I touched on this, but it's a bit of old news. But the Canucks hire Cammy Granato as assistant GM. First team to, well, they made history of hiring the first female AGM, I believe, in franchise history, maybe in the second in NHL history, and then they go and hire another one. What are your thoughts on the hire? Canucks bringing on Cammy Granato.
well, they're continuing their trend of hiring women. It was not just Emily. I don't know how to say their names, but it was like Emily Castonguay was the first AGM in league history that you mentioned, and then they brought in Rachel Dory too, who's like 25 years old, super impressive in the analytics department. Like, worked in the OHL, and she's done whatever her dissertation on. I can't remember exactly what, but like predicting NHL contracts, and they now have 3 women in their front office, which I don't think any major sports team could say.
Yeah.
Granato, one of the most successful hockey players all time, not just women, part of the U.S. system for 15 plus years. Her brothers both played and coached in the NHL. Like, I don't know a ton about her managerial capabilities, but anyone with that much success in hockey is a great add to any team.
Yeah, and it's a different set of eyes. It's a new set of eyes within the league, and yeah, I like the hire. Rutherford is sticking with his diverse front office, which is his goal.
European
And
too in there.
Exactly, hires the first Swedish GM, and Patrick Alvina touched on that a few episodes ago. But no, I think it's going to be a good hire, and like you said, anyone who's had that much success in the NHL obviously is smart enough to like make good decisions in terms of building a team. So I love the hire when it came up. But Montreal makes some splashes, hiring St. Louis as interim head coach. They fire Ducharme, and then they also bring in St. Louis' former teammate Vinny Lecavalier as special advisor. What are your thoughts on those splashes that the Habs made?
That was just a really cool day. I don't know who's not a fan of both Marty St. Louis and Vinny Lecavalier. Like,
yeah, hockey legends.
Yeah, exactly. And so far, it's working really good. It's a job interview for both St. Louis and all the players, right? Like, he isn't signed into next season. He's never coached professional hockey. And a lot of guys there are trade deadline targets. We already saw Toffoli go. And they definitely won't have a similar roster makeup next year. Like, they need to rebuild here. Soft rebuild, maybe. It depends what goes on with Price. But it's going great. Like, Caulfield's going crazy right now. He's got 9 points in 6 games.
Yeah.
His ice time's up the last few. He played over 20 minutes the other night after 5 points and 1 goal in 30 games. Like, there's something to be said about Ducharme's deployment of him, but also that team just needed. We watched it in Vancouver here. Like, the new coach is going to bring energy because it's a job interview for everyone.
Exactly, and like they just bring a new energy, and I love it because he's a player that also played with some sort of bite, and he was always kind of overlooked in terms of his height. He was traded away when he got drafted by Calgary because he just wasn't looked upon highly, and goes to Tampa, and he becomes one of their legends in franchise history. So I feel like St. Louis is coming in with that same mentality of like first head coach or like first head coaching opportunity, and no one really expected it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think he just brings they're basically playing with house money because everyone knows that they're bad, and they are bad. And so I think let's just go and give everyone a tough time. And they did that against Toronto on Monday.
Yeah, it's going well so far. Whatever happens, if they win one more game, it doesn't matter, really. So like you said, it's house money. St. Louis is going to... Why wouldn't you play hard for that guy? Like, he's done it all. Everyone's going to prove him wrong again, or he's going to prove everyone wrong again after... Who is this guy? He's a Pee Wee coach, whatever. He's going to... Just like Calgary. They're going to... The Habs move on from him. He's going to be coaching somewhere else soon, and he's going to be successful. So,
yeah, it seems like they're almost jumping on him before the league takes notice of him.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad idea. He fits the whole Montreal Canadiens mold of, like, you got to be fluent in both English and French, which obviously I understand the mantra that they're going by.
It's stupid.
But you're going to keep hiring the wrong guy just to fit a certain mold. Like, bring in the right coach and then bring in a translator if you need to. But why do you have to hire a guy who speaks English and French? But I mean, if St. Louis works out, then
I mean, it hasn't worked there in how many years?
yeah,
And I'm not saying it's like they've had great coaches. Claude Julien was a great coach. Even what's his name? The coach in Pitt, Michel Therrien. He was a good coach too. People say a lot of bad stuff about him, but he was a good coach. And there's a lot of good French hockey minds. It's just completely unnecessary, though. It's
yeah,
like Canucks have a Swedish guy. It's not like every American team hires an American guy. It makes no sense. It literally makes no sense.
yeah. It's just like the French media that they need to fit, but it's like, why don't you just hire a guy who's like smart and like does the job well? Why do you have to fit the certain mold? Doesn't necessarily make sense. Toronto, they've made a few splashes, some roster moves. The trade bait board. You've seen kind of Nick Ritchie's name like floating amongst like near the bottom pretty much, but he was the guy who was rumored in some trades, and they ended up shipping him and a pick to Arizona for Lyubushkin and Dzingel. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, Ritchie didn't work out. They brought him in here. They wanted him playing first line at first. He's never been a first liner, probably since junior. He's a good physical guy that definitely can work on a team on a bottom six role. Lyubushkin's nice. He's a bigger guy, 6'2". He's physical. Doesn't have that much NHL experience for his age, but he's playing with Chychrun, so he can play up the lineup if they need. They're not huge splashes, though. Like, Dzingel already got waived and claimed by San Jose. Their D depth is okay. I don't see these as major moves, really. Hutton's played 3 games all year, and he has been bad for 3 years. If he's playing games for the Leafs, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I feel like they just got him for like emergency depth because they didn't want the whole calling up a junior player when both their backups are hurt.
Yeah.
Because of cap space. So I feel like they brought in at least a goalie with NHL experience. Yeah, because that was another one. It was basically a huge package deal. They sent future considerations to Arizona for Hutton, and he's in, I believe, the coast or the farm team for AZ, and he's going to be heading over to Toronto pretty soon. But if anything, it's just like, we'll call you like when we really need you. We just got you for depth.
That's what they're doing. He's loaned to Tucson. Actually, he's staying there.
Yeah.
Unless they need him.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I don't think they're big moves.
He's basically just like an NHL e-bug, pretty much.
Yeah.
At this point. But Calgary, they've been on a pretty big heater as of late. They just beat Winnipeg, if I'm not mistaken. No. Yeah, they just beat Winnipeg to go on a 10-game heater. What are your I overlooked Calgary at the start of the year.
Yeah, me too.
What are your impressions of Calgary this year?
I didn't expect them to be this good. Obviously, they brought in Sutter, which great coach. He's won a couple cups. I didn't think we've seen this mold of younger coaches coming up in sports everywhere, every league, and I didn't expect this at all. Like, especially with Monahan's drop off, he went from like a first line center for 6 years to being essentially a third or fourth liner.
Yeah. With
power play time, and they're just all these depth players are playing insane. All 6 of their D are good, especially Anderson and who else is there? Chris Tanev, obviously, and then like Mangiapane is going to score 30+ goals. The whole team, Markstrom 8 shutouts. A lot of guys are exceeding expectations. Yeah. And that's how you win cups. Like, they're a legit contender right now.
Yeah, it's something that I was completely blindsided by because they had a severe down year last year. Like, they just did not play up to par. And a lot of that came with Markstrom. He was injured quite a bit last year. Johnny Gaudreau didn't play that well. But now everything's clicking on the right note. So they're a scary team to look at.
Yeah, we didn't even mention Matthew Kachuk either.
Yeah.
He's probably their best player.
Yeah, it's someone who can bring different facets to the game like Kachuk. He can bring grit when he can. He's a great goal scorer. And he's just even if he's not really like trying to do anything, he's someone that the defense locks their eyes on. And it's tough.
He's point per game, but they don't need him to be that every night. Like, there's teams like San Jose. If Meyer or Hurdle don't score, they don't win. In Calgary, Kachuk doesn't need to score every night because you have Gaudreau, you have Lindholm and Mangiapane, and even like guys like Lucic and Coleman. They'll produce too. Like, they're deep. They're really deep, and they have the goaltender. I'd hate to see it, but they might win the cup. Like,
Yeah, it's because they were, I think was it the year that Tampa was like unbelievable, um, where it was like the race between Kucherov and Tampa on how many points each one would get. Kucherov won the Hart, but Calgary was, I believe, first in the West that year, and everyone was looking at them like cup contenders. So, but this team just like seems different. Like this Calgary Flames compared to that Calgary Flames, they just look a lot more playoff like than the one before.
just everything's clicking over there.
Yeah.
Looks like the most fun anyone's ever had. Like, 7-game win streak at home, first team to ever do that. And like, yeah, to live in Calgary right now and be a Flames fan, a season ticket holder, would be just so much fun.
Yeah.
They have everything. They have the grit guys like the Lucic and the Kachok, and then they have the goal scorers. Goudreau's playing like a Hart Trophy winner, 100 points pace.
Yeah.
They have everything.
No, yeah, everything's looking
So Dorov
good
and
for them right
Goodbranson are good too. Third pair, they got like 13 feet of man combined on them. So,
now.
like,
That's unbelievable, and especially the way Zadorov hits too.
yeah,
Everyone's just, and Goodbranson could fight as well. So
that guy's been thrown around the league, and especially Vancouver Canucks will, talk down on him, but he's been pretty successful for them this year. Like,
yeah,
I didn't see him being a piece on a cup contending team. Not
Same
the way
here.
the last 5 years of his career went.
no, I completely agree with you. I was not expecting that at all. But I mean, good for him. But Andrew Hammond, we're gonna go back to Montreal for a sec. He starts his first game in nearly 4 years and tops it off with a 30 save per win, 4-2 over the Isles. What are your thoughts on that? What was your reaction to?
I mean, yeah, everyone remembers his run with Ottawa when they made the playoffs. I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 years ago. They won like 20 of 22 games or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just a good story, right? He's over 2,000 games between wins, I think, or days, sorry. And that's like top 5 or 10 all time. I don't know, good for him. It's part of the Habs turning around. St. Louis there, and Hammond coming back. Who knows? Maybe they're going to make a push.
Yeah, push is a stretch, but I mean, I just think it goes along with the house money term. Give every player within your farm system and all that, give them any shot because they need to get, I guess, a perspective on what they need to get in the draft or the deadline. Like, what pieces can they push for? They need to take a look at everything. And Andrew Hammond, like you said, the Hamburglar days on Ottawa, when he was just the best goalie in the world for a few week stretch. It's just a great story, and it's great to see. I completely forgot that he was like in the NHL.
I don't think he really was. I think he spent most of the last few years in the AA.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. He's back. I don't think he's making another run like that. But if he can stick around the league, that's fun. Fun name. Pretty sure he got like a lifetime McDonald's card that he still has too. From that run, so get the boys some burgers after the win.
Yeah, get the boys some cheeseburgers. But moving on to Boston, Marchand's 6-game sussy is upheld for his punch and jab to Tristan Jarry. What were your thoughts when you first saw that?
I mean, I thought it was funny. Like, he didn't hurt anyone, right? The last thing you want to see is someone getting a headshot and concussed. He was doing stuff all game, right? He took the puck from Jarry when he tried to flip it over. Then he blocked Crosby from going to get a new stick when he broke his stick on the face-off. I thought it was all hilarious. I really did. And, like, obviously you can't punch a goalie in the head. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't hurt him. Jarry played the next game. There's no concussion spotter taking him out. It was a little jab. Kids get hit harder in pee-wee hockey. Like, you just can't do it. It looks bad. We can't have guys running around hitting goalies. 6 games, if McDavid did that, 6 games would be insane. But a guy who's been suspended, I think, 8 times now, yeah, you just can't do it.
Yeah, it just felt completely unnecessary because the context and why he did it was just...
That makes it even worse.
Yeah, is like Tristan Jarry always said was like, how about that save to him, like allegedly, and then Marchand just goes and like punches him in the head.
Yeah, that's a bad look for him. That just makes him look soft. Like, if that's all it takes to set you off and hurt your team for the next 2 weeks, that's just not good.
Yeah, like you're one of the probably, if not the best winger in the world. Like the talent is there; it's undeniable. No one can argue it. but he's just, you never know when he's going to be in your lineup, like, because anything can set him off, and if that thing's pushing you over the edge.
Well, the Bruins are battling for position too. They're very likely in the playoffs, but probably 7th or 8th seed. You want to face a Florida or one of those top 3 or 4 teams in the East in the first round? No.
Yeah, you want something that gives yourself the best chance to win, and they need everything they can get, from goaltending to, providing stable defense, because I think that's their one weakness, is holes on the defense, and if you're missing your top scorer, then nothing's guaranteed. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty silly of him to do that, but this all happened too right when he was like starting to get back on my good side.
And that's how it is. He doesn't do anything for a while. You can just know it's coming.
Yeah, like his sound bites about Arizona playing in ASU, when he just said, like, because the capacity is like 5,000. He's like, if you want to fill that up, you have to give 4,500 away for free. Like, I thought that was one of the funniest things.
Man, I don't know though. With college kids,
yeah,
I think that's a draw. I mean, maybe they don't. ASU hockey has been taking off for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So to get NHL there is going to be, I think it's fun. Obviously, it's a bad look for the league. We shouldn't have professional level sports at this caliber in that small of a rink. But you get 5,000 drunk college students at an NHL game. It's going to be. I want to go to one. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, because everything has to be like way cheaper than. Like, it was already pretty cheap at Arizona games, but I mean, it's probably got to be like a few dollar beers.
The college sports atmosphere is the best in the world. You go to like basketball games or football games. That's better than NBA and NFL. It just is.
Yeah, because you see the student section, and then everyone's just going crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that comment from Marchand was hilarious. I thought that was funny. And then when he said, it was a comment about Carolina, and they when they beat Boston, they tweeted L for Lamborghini or something like that when they posted their win, and then Marchand replied, and he's like, "You're the reason why we pay like 60% escrow every year, because Carolina just can't put asses in the seats," or something like that. I was laughing so hard at that. So Marchand was just starting to get on my good side, and then he pulls like shit like this against Jari. So, guy can never catch a break, but
it's like he gets bored of playing hockey.
No, he's like,
I put up 30 points in 20 games. Now I need to do something else, because this is too easy for me.
Yeah, I got to bring some drama to the league.
He handicaps himself just to make it fair for everyone else.
Exactly. Eichel, he scores his first goal for Vegas, I believe, against your Sharks.
Yeah.
What's your how do you think the Golden Knights kind of play throughout the season, or the rest of the season, with Eichel in the lineup now?
It's huge. Like, they've never had a number one center in their team's history, and he's a top 10 one, even with the injury. Like, they're scary now. Like, even with Stone's out, we don't know what's up with that. Is it just a cap thing?
I think it's just a cap circumvention, but
yeah, it's not a surgery injury or anything like that. So that's like, I bet you he could be. If they were 6 points out of a playoff spot right now, he's in the lineup. He's got to be.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like getting the space for the team, because I just think with caps.
Well, they'd move someone. They'd move Smith, or they'd move Marchessault, or I don't know. They'd move someone if they needed him. He'd be in the lineup, I think. But I'm not there, and I don't want to assume. His back might be really bad, but I hate it. I didn't care so much about Tampa last year with the Kucherov thing. I thought it was whatever, rules are rules, and now 2 years in a row, and this one even looks more shady than the last. I hate it, and they look good. I watched that game. He's moving the puck around with Stevenson. Like, they're just making such quick passes. That first goal, I don't know what Reimer was doing. He was basically in the net, but it was after like 4 quick passes. They made it look so easy. He's such a good player. Everyone's forgot about him. You could see a deep run from them for sure.
Yeah, I had my buddy Matt on when the trade happened, and we were both saying, we both agreed that when he's like on the top of his game, like, he's a top 5 player in the league. And like you said, that injury, a lot of people kind of forgot like how good he is. Like, you saw the trade, and people were saying like Buffalo won, like they fleeced Vegas. And I'm like, fleeced is a very strong word, because Eichel is, like, people forget how good he is when he is on his game. And yeah, he won't.
He was hurt all last year, and he had 19 points in 21 games, I think. And people, that's him playing terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a terrible team.
You see some of his highlights, and it's like he makes everything look so easy. He's deceivingly fast. His stride is like as long as him.
His stick's like super long too. He has so much length. He doesn't look like he's skating. It's like Scott Niedermayer, but like with long legs.
Yeah, exactly. And him with Vegas is just gonna be scary. That power play, if like when Stone comes back, you'll have him, Eichel, Pacioretty, Theodore, or Pietrangelo, and then maybe like Marchessault. It's just
they're 2 units deep even.
Yeah, and then if they can acquire, even like Brossoit is like not playing bad at all behind Leonard. Leonard's out right now, but if they can,
that kid Logan Thompson looked good against the Sharks. He made like 30-something saves.
Yeah, so if there's any year, then it's at least this one. Or
look at the Pacific though. Like it's supposed to be terrible. We just talked about how good Calgary is, and now we got Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel in there. Like maybe it's not a deep division, but there's some strong teams there. Like,
and just like the players you rattled off, it's just there's stars in the Pacific Division. So it's definitely going to be one that people are going to be paying more and more attention to, especially with how Vegas is turning it on and like kind of buying into like we're not going to be any ordinary newcomer to the league.
No, they're not. No, they're probably the best expansion team in sports history.
Yeah.
And they haven't even won anything. But
yeah, that's the thing. You make the Cup Finals in your inaugural year, you're going to be classified as that and deserving.
And how many teams from then are still looking good? Like, not many. The Sharks were really good then. We're terrible now. Like, to sustain it for that many years it's already impressive.
No, I completely agree with that. But I'm excited to see. I hate it because it's like it's more of a jealous hate towards Vegas because it's like I'm a Canucks fan and like we've been trashed for like
exactly
a ton of time.
You haven't won in 40 plus years and they've been to a third as many finals as you in 5 years. Like,
yeah, and they've just been sitting at the top of the league ever since they've come in. Like it wasn't just a lucky year.
No, I hate them. I hate them so much.
Yeah,
but like I respect them. They're a hell of a team, hell of an organization. They don't even have a guy that's point per game or even close to. They're just so deep and they switch coaches. They continue just to play well every night. I don't even get it. They're so good.
Yeah. No, it's super annoying because, like William Karlsson, what was he before he went to Vegas? He was like...
He's a fringe fourth liner.
Yeah.
Like he had like 8 goals or something.
Yeah, and then he got like 42 in his first year with Vegas, and then he's been a solid second liner ever since. And Marchessault, he's been a clutch player.
Florida traded them, like Marchessault and Smith, to not take, I think it was that big defenseman they used to have. I can't remember his name. He's a Western Canadian guy. He fought Kane in a game 3 times once. But they literally made them take Smith and Marchessault to not take this guy who's not even in the league anymore. And those are 2 of their top 6 forwards for like their whole...
Yeah, it's not fair, man. It's not fair. But
it's not fair to Seattle, man. They got screwed because of that.
Yeah, because everyone was like, we're not doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That we did Vegas. It was just funny because with Seattle's draft, I thought like on paper their team looked better than Vegas's, but it was hard. It would be hard to like.
I think we were like
the year
blinded because Vegas turned out so good, and we're like, looking at this one, and we're like, oh, look how good Vegas was. They're gonna be good too. And then Grubauer just like he's been awful. If he's elite, they're probably in the hunt. Like he was elite for a year or 2 there.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that was because of the team he was on?
It's hard to say because even Hutton hasn't, or what's his name, Kemper. Sorry, Arizona goalies, but Kemper hasn't been that good there either. So I don't know what it is. Maybe. No idea. Like maybe he had a kid or something. He's too busy. Definitely the team hurts a bit, but his drop off is pretty crazy.
No, it is pretty crazy. But we'll move. There's a quote by Stamkos, and he said Matthews can score 60 goals easily, and we saw him do it, and within his first few years in the league. When do you think we'll see the next person score 60 goals?
I don't know. It could happen any year. I wouldn't be surprised if Ovechkin did it again. Matthews is like super committed to playing defense too. So if he was floating around like a young Ovechkin, he probably would put up 60. I think it could happen any year. There's a number of guys that could do it. Like even a guy like DeBrincat, if he gets moved to play with an elite center, if you put him on the wing with like Eichel or something, or I think it'll happen soon. We've seen 5-6 years ago we weren't even seeing 100-point guys. Now we're getting 10+ guys to get pace for that every year. It's a matter of time. I thought it would have been this year. Still could be. We saw guys score 20 in the first 30 this year. Someone could score 30 in the last 30. Like,
no, that's a really good point because, yeah, the rocket race is like Draisaitl's leading the league with 33, but then you see the top five. Number 5 is 29. That's Kyle Connor. So it's like the race is super tight, and like any of those guys can go on an absolute tear. 10 goals in 6 games.
Yeah,
that's already 40. Right?
Yeah,
so
the talent in the league is stupid right now. Yeah, we could see 60 every year for the next 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Do you think anyone hits 70?
No, probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. I hope I'm wrong. Like maybe if Draisaitl and McDavid team up for every shift for a full year, maybe Draisaitl can pocket 70. But no, I don't think we'll see that. That's bad goalie stuff. Like the goalies are too good now.
Yeah.
If McDavid played in the 80s, he'd score 150. But
yeah, I don't think anyone's putting 70 away. That's nearly not even like a point. People wish to put up 70 points.
You gotta stay healthy too. Like,
yeah, no, but 60. Yeah, it's amazing what 10 goals. It's like 60. You can almost see, but 70 is like it seems just a little too far fetched. Yeah. But who do you think is the next one who puts 60 away?
Probably Matthews.
Matthews?
Yeah. Draisaitl too, but I'd say I'd lean Matthews. I think that he's the best goal-scoring talent since Ovechkin. Like, no disrespect to Draisaitl, but I think Matthews can create for himself a little bit more. I'd lean towards him.
Yeah, he seems to have the biggest knack and one of the best shots in the league. Sorry, one sec. Anyways, yeah, we had to pause there because the audio in here is BCIT is doing the construction, some sanding or whatever. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. But I think Matthews would be the next one to do it. I can agree with you there. But trade deadline's coming up, and there's some interesting names. Surprising, number 1, you see Ben Sherratt sitting at the top of the almost everyone's trade bait board, which is
he's not the best player that's available.
Yeah, he's not the best player that's in trade rumors. You get Claude Giroux, you got JT Miller, Hurdle, yeah, exactly. And it's why is Ben Sherratt up there? And people are saying teams are willing to give up a first for Sherratt. It's why?
If that happens, then Jake Chikrin's worth 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dumb. But what's the interesting name or trade that you're kind of hypothesizing?
Well, to me, the most interesting is Giroux. He's been the captain for I don't know how many seasons. He's been there for 10 plus. There's rumors that he wanted to go to Colorado. I don't know how they make that happen, but just to see him leave Philly, and he's still such a good offensive player, I think that if he gets on a team that's a middling team, if he gets on a Calgary, they just got to Foley, so they probably don't go another forward. They're rumored to get Sherratt too. But if he gets on a contending team, that's who I'd be scared of.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to play those first-line minutes anymore.
Yeah.
And, he's kind of past those days. But he's also a guy who's oh, you need someone.
His skill is so high.
Yeah. If he goes to Colorado, Landeskog plays center there, or Nathan McKinnon does. They kind of, switch out. If Landeskog gets hurt, Giroux's okay, I'll just, fill in. I'll just, play PP1.
I don't even know how they fit him in there.
Yeah. They'd have to give up, just, yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting, but he also said... It's another team he said.
Well, I saw this Colorado rumor, and then it was apparently not true. Someone had said it was the only place that he was willing to go.
Oh yeah.
And then he came out, or their GM came out. Someone said that's not true at all. So I don't know. I think he was rumored to one of the Florida teams. Florida would be nice.
I thought I saw St. Louis in there, but I may have been wrong. I may have been thinking about someone else, but no, I'm also like Giroux is an interesting name, and he's a name I have down there for something we're gonna do a bit later. But yeah, it's gonna be so weird to see him in like a different jersey.
I almost don't think it'll even happen. Like, unless he forces his way out. He's still got that big contract. They'll have to eat some of it if they're sending him to a good team. I'm pretty sure he has a full move. It would just be weird. I would love to see it in Pittsburgh. Him and Crosby have hated each other for so long.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
Did you hear that story about at World Championships?
No. I might have. Remind me.
I believe it was Nathan McKinnon telling the story. And they were at World Championships, you know, the one that happens like during playoffs or whatever. Or it may have been like Olympic tryouts or something, but I can't remember. But Team Canada was out, and Pittsburgh and Philly were both out of the playoffs, so Giroux and Crosby went over to play. And they were going out for like dinner. And Giroux was sitting down, and Crosby hadn't shown up yet. And like Nathan McKinnon and all the boys like saved the seat, the only seat left besides Giroux. And Crosby came in and they're like, "Yo, we got a spot over here beside Giroux," and like everyone just started dying laughing. And I don't know how awkward it was. Like I didn't hear that part, but just everyone knows that the feud that Crosby and Giroux and like Pittsburgh versus Philly, like that rivalry.
Awesome playoff matchups.
Yeah, like that one highlight of Giroux completely dumping Crosby like right at the start of the game, and that just started like.
There was rumors too that Giroux didn't make Sochi in 2014 because of Crosby.
Really?
And I don't think that's true. Crosby's just a gamer. He wants to win. He'll want whoever's on the team. I could not see him doing that personally. Yeah. But there were rumors that Giroux's like a 100-point player at the time doesn't make it because Crosby doesn't like him. And I don't think that would be true, but it's interesting.
That's like some Michael Jordan shit. Like with
Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas not making the dream team. Like he was probably like, nah, like.
What, Christian Leitner's on that team? Different positions, but still.
It's like just get anyone else but him. So I don't think Crosby's that way, but some interesting storylines that go on. But I also saw this one thing, and it's gonna kind of flow into Chicago. But I saw like Bobby Hall parted ways with Chicago. I think that's like an ultimate smart move.
I didn't know this idiot was still in the league. Like, you can look into his history if you want, but he shouldn't be working in the NHL with this stuff he's said in the past and racist things he's done. Like, I had no idea he was still involved with the league.
Yeah, and that just shows, like, with what kind of organization Chicago is. Like, they've just been an absolute barn burner.
Yeah, he's one of their all-time legends, but
he's definitely still living in his time.
Well, and there was years and it was decades ago when he was saying some of this racist stuff, like somewhat supporting Hitler, and like, I don't understand how I couldn't believe he was still affiliated with the team. I haven't heard his name other than people that bring up that stuff every once in a while. Like, it's wild to me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But do you think Fleury gets traded?
I hope so. Like, he's in the last year of his deal. They can take cap to move him. I'd love to see him go back to Pittsburgh. Jarry's incredible there, so it'd be like a Murray-Fleury thing again with who starts, but apparently Washington might be interested, which would hurt for Penguins fans to see him there.
I heard that Fleury's turned down multiple trade offers from Washington, and he said no to all of them.
Well, that's cool then. That'd be good to hear for the Pens fans. I've always cheered for Pittsburgh. Like, I just love Crosby and just love good hockey. It's hard for me not to, especially being an East team, and I cheer for the Sharks.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him go there. I don't know where else like he'd be really needed. Like, all the other contenders' goalies are playing well. Like, and he only wants to go where he can win. In the East, like, all those top teams have good goalies. Rangers, Carolina, Florida, Toronto, they're all solid goaltenders. Maybe Boston. Boston could be a good fit there. Swayman's been good, but he's young.
Yeah.
Rask didn't work out.
Yeah, it's interesting to look into.
Minnesota, maybe.
Yeah.
Kakinen, Talbot. Talbot was good when he's in, but he's always hurt. I'd like to see him get moved. The league's more fun when Fleury's a prominent player.
And, like, actually playing for something.
Edmonton?
Oh, that's what I
Are they really a contender though?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many holes in that roster that I think they're way more than just adding Fleury to their lineup to like go on a run. Like it would definitely help, like more like because they have Swiss cheese goalies right now. Like Mike Smith isn't in the lineup. They have not Jeff Skinner, but they have Skinner in that.
He's the only one that might have some potential there.
Yeah, he's just not there yet. And then Koskinen is like on.
Peter Chiarelli's parting move for them, sign him 4.6 by 3, gets fired the next week.
Yeah, and he wears number 19. If you're a goalie and wear number 19, like you suck already. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the Fleury sweepstakes.
I'd love to see him get moved. They're so disappointing. Not everyone, but you thought maybe, hey, Fleury comes over, Seth Jones comes over. We still got these young guys that like DeBrincat and Strome that might continue to ascend. I was hoping they would be good. They got to get Kane out of there now too, because Taves' comeback is sad and not good.
Yeah.
Kane's contract's huge, but imagine that's the name. That's the trade deadline name. That guy gets moved. He could instantly go win another cup if he gets put on a good team. Like he's been carrying Chicago for the last 3 years. He's like the only good player at most nights.
No, that's a fact. That's 100% a fact. I'm also looking like Nashville
for Fleury. Saros been good, really good.
Yeah,
he's young. I don't see that. I don't see that as a fit. I mean,
well, you see, Jari's been good this year. Just depth
goalies, especially on a 1 year or a common deadline acquisition. But does he want to? He's not going to waive to go be a backup. I don't think. Yeah. Watch for the next month. If someone goes down, that's when we'll really see. Because even then, say a guy goes out for a month, they'll need him down the stretch. Maybe he won't be the starter, but just to play the last 20 games or so until the guy's healthy.
Yeah, and also. Preds aren't necessarily in a playoff spot right now. They're 4 points back of third in the Central, so it's not really like a guarantee right now.
They've been trending down hard too.
Yeah, I feel like he'd only go to somewhere where like he's kind of guaranteed a spot, and he's still like even in talks with Chicago to like determine his future and like where he wants to go. And there's still like a month until the deadline, so
I don't think he wants to be there.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to either, but I think it's just a matter of like.
Do you know if he has full no move?
I think it's modified.
Okay, so they get 3-team list or something.
Yeah, and
so
I think
they'd be stupid to not move him. He's not going to re-sign there, and he's a UFA. So
you think like Vegas turned this down, but do you think he reunites in there?
No. Yeah. No, they can't do that.
They
can't do that to Leonard. They committed to the guy.
Yeah.
That's just a bad look from their management if they do that. Why? I know everyone wants to sign there. They like the atmosphere. They like the city. I would be wary to sign there if they just screwed Leonard over like that. After they just screwed Fleury over.
Exactly. Like if I was Fleury, I wouldn't want to go back to Vegas just because it's like I just won the Vezina and they traded me away for nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't go back either.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think if he wants another chance to win, he might have to take on a backup role or at least like not a complete starting role. Like
I
maybe
like Minnesota and Boston. I mean, they're second tier contenders, right? But.
I mean Minnesota's sitting second in the Central.
They're super exciting. Like they've been boring their whole franchise life. They've been a boring team. They never have guys who put up points. Like they've never gone on a deep run. Kaprizov comes over and it changes their whole franchise. Depth guys are going crazy. Marcus Foligno scoring 20+. Ryan Hartman is like almost point per game. It's insane. They're super exciting.
Yeah. Do you think they'd run like a 1A 1B with Talbot?
I don't know what's going on health-wise over there because I know he missed a bunch of games. Kakanen's been playing too. He doesn't look like he's going to be like a legit starter, I don't think. I don't know how it would work, honestly. It'd probably be just try out for the job. Talbot's been good, but...
I assume it'd be like a 1A, 1B. If like a goalie's on a hot streak, let him ride. But if he has like an off game, then we'll just see how the other guy goes. But it's not going to be like a... like Demko Halak where he gets like 90% on the starts.
Yeah, no.
Like I don't think it'd be like that, but yeah, I'm with you. I hope Fleury gets moved because he kind of deserves better than what's going on in Chicago right now. That's a fact. Who's Calgary's backup again?
It's Dan Vladar, I believe.
Vladar.
He's only played like 10 games, but he's got a couple of shutouts too. Yeah, Dan Vladar.
Yeah.
And he's been good for them too.
Yeah, so there's some teams to kind of look out for. But yeah. So I got some things that I've drawn up. Some 5 finish the sentence / fill in the blanks that you're gonna
Okay.
do, and we can kind of talk about them, talk about your answer, whatever. But kind of did this, but blank is guaranteed to find himself on a new team after the deadline.
I'll go with Ben Perrott. I mean, we're talking about him not being worth a first, but everyone's depth defenders, there's not enough of them. They're always going to get moved. Montreal needs more picks. They need more prospects. He's gone.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because especially for playoff teams too.
You can never have too many D-men. You want to be 8 or 9 deep. You really do.
Yeah, exactly. I put Giroux down there because I really think he's going to leave Philly.
His contract is just the only thing.
And
he's just such a legend there.
Yeah, but I just think he wants a chance to win, and I don't think Philly's close to that.
Yeah, they probably both go. Philly's been talking about rebuilding their culture and stuff. Not that Giroux's a detriment to it, but it's just time to move on, get younger.
Yeah, and I think the one step is just.
And they just traded Voracek too, who was a long time loved member of that team. So.
And I think if he does get traded, like I've seen on like Philly Twitter and Philly Instagram, that they almost like want to see him get traded to a contender because they want to see him like actually have another run at a cup. Because in 2010, when they
lost to Chicago.
It's like that they haven't really had.
I don't know what the hell has been up with that team. Like they've had so many good players over the last decade, and they just consistently underperform. Like they've had so many good players.
Yeah, I picked them to win the cup the year of the bubble, I think, or maybe the year after. I can't remember exactly, but they've just been.
They were a hot pick this year too. A lot of people thought they were going to be a playoff team. Like they brought in Ryan Ellis, which was big. He hasn't played all year.
Yeah, I might have had them winning the Metro this year. I can't remember.
I can't remember what I had either. I don't think I had them doing that good, but I probably didn't see them being this bad either.
Yeah, but yeah, I just see Giroux wanting to just get another shot at a cup run, and I think some team makes it work, like a contending team. But another one, blank isn't getting enough appreciation for the season they're having.
Timo Meyer, my guy.
Timo Meyer's been
90-plus point pace. He leads. He's up there top 10 in a lot of advanced analytics too for driving play. I said this earlier that San Jose doesn't win if him and Hertl don't score. He has been so good. He scored 32 3 years ago and then 2 down years in a row, and he's just been insane. He drives play. He's like Evander Kane, Tom Wilson. There's him. There's very few guys that are that fast, that strong, and can play with the puck. Like he's just good at everything. He's a 5-goal game, most in Sharks history. He's been so good all year long.
Because he takes advantage of the chances, the opportunities he gets, and he's like one of those players that really harps on the just get the puck on net, and
he's I think second or third in shots. He shoots from everywhere.
Exactly, like sharp angles on the power play. Anytime the puck gets in his wheelhouse, he just fires it towards the net, and that's how goal scorers get paid. They just throw the puck on net. You can't score if you don't shoot, right? That's how Mike Bossy went on that 50-goal season tangent, 9 straight 50-goal seasons. Like he just said, it's like I didn't aim, I just shot the puck on net and it just found a way in. Mind you, the goalies were like carpenters on their off days back then. But if that's the case, then everyone should have put 50 a season away. But no one did it like Bossy in that time. So I feel like Meyer's just kind of following along with that. Like he's.
With Kane being out too, there was a big hole needed up front for a power forward, first power play. He hasn't always got first power play, and he's having the best year of his career. And nobody's paying any attention because the team sucks and no one's going to the games. They get 10,000 fans a night right now. Like, fair enough. Why follow the Sharks right now? But him and Hertl, that's why. Like they're exciting most nights.
Do you think Hertl gets traded?
I mean, it's hard.
He said he wants to stay in San Jose.
A couple weeks ago that came out, and the assistant general manager, Joe Will, he's been acting GM for months now because Doug Wilson's been out with medical leave. He said like 2 weeks ago that we haven't talked anything about that. We're only focused on the contract. So I don't want him to go. Everyone wants him to rebuild. We're stuck with all these contracts. So they got Couture, Burns, Vlasic, Carlson.
That Vlasic contract doesn't look
That's
good.
terrible. He's not even worth $1 million. And I love him. He's an all-time Shark. He's not even worth $1 million. But with all those on there, you can't rebuild anyway.
Yeah.
So sign him to 5-6 years. In 5 years, those other contracts are off the books, and that's the only big one you have to worry about. And then upcoming Meyer deal. But like, what they should be doing is trading Couture if anyone will take on that contract, because Hurdle's younger and better. Like, we're in 1 or 2 years, Couture's completely unmovable if he's not already unmovable. So I think there's something to be said about like being the worst team you can to get better picks, but you also need veteran leaders there to develop your young guys.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Just because you get a bunch of high picks does not mean this team is going to turn into a cup contender. Buffalo's been getting high picks for 10 years. Edmonton took 10 years, and they're still not even that good either. Like, you need veterans there. So to lose him, I think, is a huge blow. And he's pretty much a rental, so the return's not going to be as good as people think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe a late first and a middling prospect or two. Like, we're not getting a top 10 first, so to me, he's worth that, and we're not going to get it, so why trade him?
Yeah, fair enough. Because there's rumors of Hurdle going to the Rangers, but then those kind of like died off after a bit. But trade deadline, like, random players get shipped. Like, I've seen like Besser being involved in like trade discussions.
Pretty much every Canuck's been talked about. Pedersen even has been brought up by people.
Yeah, I think there's 3 to 4 untouchables, and this fourth one like came to me.
Is Hoglander one of them?
Podkolzin.
Yeah.
I fucking love Podkolzin. I love the way he plays. I think he's never going to be like a 90-point player. I think he's going to be 60, 70 maybe.
Big guy.
But he has bite to him, and that's something that the Canucks have been missing for a very long time.
Like ever.
Is a player like him. He's got bite, and he's deceivingly strong. He looks pretty skinny, but he can bowl someone over. So, but yeah, like Hughes, Pedersen, and Demko, I don't think we should trade. And then Podkolzin slips there, but yeah. So, Hurdle being in like discussions, like it makes sense.
I mean, if he doesn't want to resign, you have to move him. You can't
Yeah.
lose him for nothing. You can't.
Yeah.
He's my favorite player, though, since Marleau retired. Or he's not retired, but he's not in the league. Likely will retire after this season, I guess. But he's my favorite player. I don't want him to go. I don't care. I don't care if it makes the team worse and we're going to move up 3 spots in the draft. Like,
Yeah.
Lottery's a lottery. We'll have a chance to win the one pick no matter where we finish, if it's 11th or if it's 8th. Keep him.
Yeah. Fair enough. I put Gaudreau because I still feel like he's not getting the attention he deserves. He's 4th in scoring, and he leads the league in plus minus, which isn't like the main stat to a player.
It
but
says something.
He's plus 44. Like, that's absurd. And he's top 5 in assists with 44. He's he's 4th in scoring, but I still feel like his name isn't talked about enough. And
it's just probably because that team is so deep. Like,
Yeah.
they have different guys that do it every night.
yeah, so I think Gaudreau's having an unbelievable year after a down year last year. And like, when he's on top of his game, he can be like a Hart Trophy player. He's like
He is a Hart Trophy candidate right now.
Yeah, he's one of the best like overtime players, like 3-on-3. Like, he's just so patient, and he's one of, if not the biggest reason why Calgary's doing so well. Because
if they do poorly in the playoffs this year, he's probably getting moved. Someone is. He's never done it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're contenders right now. There'll be changes there because this team's good. They got to go to the conference final. If they don't, it's a wash.
Yeah, it's a very disappointing year. To start a franchise, you picked this player, and I took out 3 names: no McDavid, Matthews, or McKinnon.
Makar.
I put the same.
Cale Makar. It's got to be. He's McDavid on defense. He's the closest thing to Bobby Orr since Bobby Orr. He's insane.
He's going to continuously, year after year, be on pace for like 30 goals. And it's going to take an injury or just a team
If he
slump.
has a Carlson-like drop-off. Carlson was having an incredible year, don't get me wrong, but he gets injured every single year. If he drops off like that, it'll be so depressing for all hockey fans, except for like Central Division fans that aren't Caps fans. Like it's just I can't believe it. Carlson was so incredibly good offensively. I thought we would never see something like that for 20 years, and Makar's better already. Like,
Remember in his rookie year, the Makar Hughes, and just the way Makar's taken off, and obviously the team surrounding you helps a lot, but you can just tell off the player alone that Makar is just
no, he's
levels.
special. Like,
yeah,
there's really good elite players, and then there's a step above the Crosbys, the McDavids.
Like there's players like McKinnon, McDavid, whereas like if they settled for the NHL, or if there's a league above the NHL, they'd be playing in that. And like I think Makar is
100%.
is there because the stuff that he does is unbelievable. I also put Adam Fox because he's he's good too.
There's probably some guys I'd take above Fox. Like he hasn't been as good this year as he was in his Norris year, but I mean, yeah, he's incredible too. He's a little younger or a little older too, right? Played some college before he came in.
Yeah.
Awesome player, but
yeah, he's
not on Makar's level.
He's not as flashy as Makar, but he's still like a really solid defenseman. But yeah, I think I would start with Makar as well. You may have touched on this in your Sharks rant, but the Sharks are blank years away from contending.
Contending for a cup?
Playoffs or cup.
Over 5. Like I mentioned, all those contracts, man. Burns is the only one making his money, and he's going to be 37 in like 3 weeks. Couture's declining, probably not movable. Vlasic's not even playable at the NHL level. Goaltending hasn't been figured out. Reimer's been good, but he's not a long-term option. Aiden Hill's been terrible. Outside Eklund, Meyer, and Hurdle, who Meyer and Hurdle might be gone sooner, it's multiple years away, like 5+ years away before they're cup contenders for sure. And these next few drafts, Eklund looks like a stud, probably the best player they've drafted since Marleau, but it's a long time, and I've never seen a team in such like purgatory where
really?
they're not bad, they're not that bad. Like they have all these, like Carlson and Burns are still really good defensemen. Couture's is still a really good second line player, but they're going to be around 500 for years because they can't move these guys, and they're going to keep trying to build around them and win because you can't. What are you going to do? Like nobody's taking these huge contracts, and they're 30, all on the other side of 30. It's just they're stuck.
Yeah,
we're really bad, but we're still like 12th pick right now. Like not even close to the number one, and we're 10+ points out of playoffs. It's
the
right
worst
in the
spot.
middle.
It's the worst spot to be in. Yeah, you either like be on the cusp of making playoffs and like able to look like you can compete for a 7-game series, or suck so bad that you're in like the top 3. Because being in like the middle spot, because that's where the Canucks always find themselves. They've been mediocre forever, and also the Minnesota Wild, they've been that team too. Whereas like they've made the playoffs, but then they've been eliminated first, so that they get
Columbus is in that group as well.
They get like the 14th to like 17th pick, right?
It's good half the time. Like
but it's
once
like
in a while there's a guy in that range that turns out, but
they win 2 games in a row, go on a 3-game heater, and then go 1-1-1, and then like 3 games, and then 5 game. It's like they can never take a stride, and obviously Minnesota's taken that next level because they've looked.
They brought in an elite top 10 player in the league. Kirill Kaprizov changed the whole franchise.
Yeah,
having a guy like that makes fringe players into the very good NHLers. Like Crosby's done it with random guys. Look at Rodriguez right now. You saw it with Chris Kunitz. When you have an elite player like that and you see him work every single day, it makes everyone else better.
Yeah, and we can retract to number 3 to start a franchise. I think Kaprizov's like right up there. He's such an exciting player. He makes every player around him better, and so Minnesota.
The only knock on him is that he's a winger. Probably start it with a center or a D-man, but he's probably up there for top 5 or 6 players.
Yeah, he's just so fun to watch. Like the stuff that he brings, it's.
An honorable mention has to be Mo Seider too. Like I want to talk a bit of Red Wings because
for sure
I've been following that team a lot now, and these next 5, 6, 7 bad years in San Jose, I'm saved by watching the Wings now because they're going to contend for a spot next year depending on the moves they make. They have a ton of prospects. I put out a couple articles on some of their Swedish prospects, and they're like some of these guys I didn't know a lot about until I started watching them. They're exciting. Mo Sider would be right up there for the guy I'd start my franchise with too. Like,
Stevie Y effect. I think he should be in the front runner for the Calder because I think
he is. And
yeah,
he should be. If
yeah,
he's not,
because people throw Raymond and Lundell and Zegers up there, but being a defenseman is way harder. Like a rookie defenseman is way harder than being a rookie forward.
yeah, and he's not sheltered like we've seen
Yeah.
some of these guys. Like Quinn Hughes was sheltered when he came in and was relied on for offense. He does everything. He
Yeah.
hits people. He plays defensively. His skating's insane. He's huge. Like
I saw people.
he's my favorite player.
This may have,
That's not a Shark.
this may have been, like this was on Chicklets, I think, but Biz said that he kind of compared him to Pronger. Like
He's got some of that in his game for
like
sure.
he has some bite. He won't step down from any sort of tenacity that's thrown
He
at
was
him.
mixing it up with Crosby earlier in the
Yeah,
year, taking the puck from Hedman. Like
Yeah,
he's not
exactly.
scared.
Exactly, and he can produce while playing very, very solid
Yeah.
on defense. And when he was picked, if I'm not mistaken, he was kind of a surprise pick. Like it kind of
He was supposed to go in the
Yeah.
20s. We were shocked.
yeah, like it turned heads when Stevie Y picked him. But the Stevie Y effect, man, like
Yeah, you
built Tampa, and it looks like he's speeding up the rebuild in Detroit, and it's really exciting to see because Detroit's been one of those teams where I've kind of always liked. They never did anything wrong. They had exciting players. It's Hockey Town. Like there's just a cool team to vote for, and seeing Detroit like on the come up, it's exciting because I have a buddy who's a Detroit fan. He's been on the podcast multiple times. Shout out Ian, but yeah, he's a Red Wings fan. And
What does he think? He thinks that it's looking
Yeah.
positive, man. It really
Yeah.
is.
How long have you been a Red Wings fan? And like
I mean, I'm not really a Red Wings fan until 2 months ago when I started writing for them. I've obviously, like you said, I've never disliked the team.
Yeah.
Datsuk, Zetterberg, all these good players, Franzen and Lidstrom, and they've had so many good players. Hasek was there for a bit. Osgood. Like, how do you? They've never been a team I've disliked, even though teams with sustained success like that are often hated.
yeah,
I mean, San Jose battled them in the playoffs a lot too. That was rough. I don't like right now. I'm a fan of the team now, partially because I'm writing about them, but mostly because of the young guys they have coming up. They're super exciting.
yeah. If there's any team to kind of hop on the bandwagon for, it'd be this team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're still a couple years away, but when Simon Edmondson comes over, maybe that Casa gets in the net and he's solid. Nedeljkovic too is a great pickup. He's been struggling lately, but he's also had a massive workload there.
I was so surprised when Carolina, not really because Carolina, like the owners, like really
They gave
cheap.
him away for nothing.
Yeah, it was like a 6th round pick or something.
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
a third, I believe.
Oh,
A third
my
in
bad.
Bernier. And then Bernier signed in New Jersey 6 days later. He was a UFA. So it was essentially just a third for a guy that had like 15 wins and 22 starts and was a Calder nominee. I talk about this in this article I have coming out, the best Stevie Y trades he's made
Okay.
as a Red Wings GM. But yeah, that one still shocks me. Like he has struggled lately, but it's also his heaviest workload in his career
He's a young goalie.
on
like-
a developing team.
Like goalies are gonna struggle.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Bobrovsky signed for $10 million. He had the worst season of his career last year,
Yeah.
or like a couple years ago. Like he was bad. But Nedeljkovic, he's a young goalie, and he's shown that he can play solid, especially when it comes to playoffs.
He was great in
because
Carolina.
he was unbelievable. So, yeah, bringing it back to 3 to like start a franchise, Moritz Seider, that's a great pick
Yeah.
because he's just one of those. He's every coach's dream on defense.
He does things every night that
Yeah.
like the stats don't tell you either. Like
And he's a right shot defenseman. Like he's gonna be paid, and because like right shot defensemen are like beloved in the NHL. Like that's what
They're
every
hard to
team
come
wants.
by.
They're very hard to come by. So when you can draft a stud like that, and he's playing at this level in his rookie year, it's hard to like not always go up from here. Yeah, he's looking like a stud. But number 5, gonna end up on this one. I can't stand this player/team. So player or team, what team can you just not stand?
Jonathan Marchessault and Vegas. I mean,
Really?
I'm a Sharks fan. Vegas, we call it a rivalry. It's not. They've beat us, I think it's 17 of 21 regular season games since they came into the league. They've won 10 straight. It's not a rivalry at all. Vegas absolutely owns the Sharks and all their fans. We have more wins in the playoffs against them than we do in the regular season, and we haven't made the playoffs in 3 years. Like, they beat us every single time. He's running his mouth, and He does little chippy, dirty stuff too. I hate him. I hate that whole franchise. I like a lot of their players. I like Shea Theodore. I like Mark Stone. I like Jack Eichel. I like Leonard. I hate Jonathan Marchessault so much.
That's a play I was not expecting. I'll be honest.
You're gonna Marchand or Wilson or something like that.
That's too like.
I like
generic.
those guys honestly.
I feel like they resemble the type of player.
The thing with Marchessault is he's chippy and he never fights. He never does anything. At least the Kachucks will, do something about it.
Yeah.
I think he fought Vlasic one time. Vlasic, he doesn't fight anyone. Like, I don't like him. If he came to San Jose, I would. He's a hell of a player.
No, yeah, he's incredible.
Or even Detroit. He looked good in the Red Wings too. They could use some scoring up front.
Yeah, no, you're right. I had a player in mind, and I remember watching it, and I'm like, this guy just starts shit, but he never, like, finishes it. And I can't remember what player it was. But I didn't want to say, like, a Marchand or Wilson because those guys are just, like, too generic. But I put a team in the Flames. I fucking hate Calgary.
You're a Canucks fan, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had this discussion with the guy the other day. He was like, you should hate the Flames. He's like, I can't, man. They got Tanev, and they got some of our guys over there. They got Markstrom. They got good Branson. Like,
I hate Calgary. Like amongst the teams I hate, it's Toronto's up there, and it's more so I like every player on Toronto. Like, I don't hate the team. I just hate the media surrounding Toronto, and I think that's
as any non-Ontario and Canadian should.
I think that's unanimous amongst the league. It's just Toronto media sucks, and like they are continuously talking about
national media sucks too.
Yeah.
They don't talk about anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it'll be an off day, and they'll still like put a segment towards the Maple Leafs, and it's like,
yeah, Canucks make like 2 trades this day, and they talk about practice lines at Leafs.
yeah. So, and then Boston, I've just always hated them, just because they've been dirty, but that's just being a soft Canucks fan, I guess.
Pretty much.
But Calgary, it's just a team that has always gotten on my nerves. I just feel like they're cowards.
I don't like either of the Alberta teams either. They're one step below Vegas on like my hate meter, mostly just because they're Pacific rivals. I live in Vancouver. I can't hate them that bad. But yeah, I don't like either of the Alberta teams. I want Connor out of Edmonton so bad.
Do you think he does do you think he does leave Edmonton?
If I had to guess, I'd say no, but we'll see how the next 4 years go. If they don't make it out of the second round once, probably. Why would he stay?
Yeah.
But I expect a player that great will win in the city that drafts him. I expect multiple cups from him there. It's just taken a long time to get the first.
Scott, this has been awesome. I appreciate you coming on. It was good to, clean up some NHL headlines and thoughts and stuff, but this is your time. Let the people know where they can find your work, social media, and all that.
Follow me on Twitter @_ScottOny, SCOTTONY, and check out Wings Nation and everything else the Nation Network does.
Sweet. You guys know where to follow me on Instagram and Twitter on Instagram @Jevon.Lefebvre, on Twitter @JevonLefebvre. Find everything for the show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok @LeftSideHeavy_. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Left Side Heavy. Ring the bell, comment, like, do all that sorts of jazz. I like interacting with you guys, so be sure to do that. And leave a rating and review on Apple and Spotify. Helps grow the show. Scott, once again, thanks for coming on. And guys, there's a Kickback and Relax episode coming this Friday with my buddy, professional lacrosse player, Rylan Reese. So that'll be coming on Friday. Be sure to check that out. And see you guys then. Peace.